What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Eric coming to you with another movie review, and today we're talking about Father Stu. This film was just released this week. I checked it out yesterday, and it follows the true life story of Stuart Long, a boxer turned priest. I knew almost nothing about this movie. I was just glancing at the films that were coming out this week, and I just looked at a very brief synopsis, and it just talked about, okay, it stars Mark Wahlberg. I like him. And it mentions that there is a boxer who meets a girl and ends up going to church to impress her and then decides to become a priest. That's all I knew. And it sounded pretty interesting, more interesting than the other films that had come out, so I went to check it out. I found this movie highly entertaining. I found this movie to be excellent. And I was just, completely into this film the entire runtime. Although I will say the first half I enjoyed a little more. I'll talk about the reasons why and everything. I did kind of figure out that this movie was based on a true story. I didn't know that going in. I knew nothing, but some of the things that happened, some of the twists and turns during the plot, I'm like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Like, that's an interesting choice. This must be based on a true story. This is almost too wild not to be true. This individual, Stuart Long, has a life with some of the most, crazy occurrences that you can imagine. And there's so many major things that happen in his life that this just had to be made into a movie. In fact, it could have even been made into a series. There's just so much in here. And even though the runtime is over 2 hours long, I went in worried about it, thinking, man, this might be a little too long. This might be overly long. Hope I don't get bored. But actually, I would say, if anything, certain parts were actually rushed because there was just so much there. And I'll get into that when I get into the negatives. But I want to start with the positives, and I'll stay away from spoilers at least for a while. If I'm going to say any spoilers, I'll save them for the end, and I'll give you a warning before I get into that, just in case you want to see this movie. I'm going to try to be vague. So this is a biopic, obviously, and following this individual is a lot of fun because the character is just very likable, although he does have issues, of course, although he is self-destructive and damaged. And, we see some of his relationships with his parents, which is just toxic, to say the least. His dad, played by Gibson, does a fantastic job as well. But just following the character is a lot of fun. The movie is very funny. Very funny, laugh out loud funny, much funnier than many comedies that are actually supposed to be funny throughout. This film is funnier, and the comedy is not stupid, not blatant, not in your face. It's natural, it's hilarious. I love the comedic element of this movie. He's a guy that doesn't really take no for an answer. He's not a shy type. He will be outspoken and try to find whatever contacts he can to try to further his goals, and it's just really fun to watch him, even though he's not the most polished individual, even though he doesn't have a great resume. He can be very charming and just really fun to watch. The second half of the movie is where things really get rolling, where certain events happen that propel the plot along, and there are more than one major event, which is kind of when I started figuring out, like, this can't be just a movie somebody wrote. This has to be based on a true story, because no writer would think, okay, now at this point, I'm going to have this crazy thing happen. Like, we've already had a crazy thing happen to propel the plot along. Why do we have this second, even crazier thing happen? And to be honest, I didn't really love some of the things that happened. But when you're writing a movie based on a true story, you're trying to stick to that story. You kind of have no choice. You're kind of written into a corner there. You're writing an extraordinary story about somebody. Because extraordinary things happen, you have to keep those extraordinary things as part of the plot. They are absolutely essential to the story. And as we follow along with this character, as he makes this insane transformation, you'll believe it's really happening. Even though the first half of the movie, you're like, how the hell is he going to end up becoming a priest? It's going to be totally fake, right? He's going to do it to impress a girl. What's going to happen? How the hell is this individual going to, really be a priest? And I hope it's not something dumb that you see, and I don't mean any disrespect, but a lot of Christian movies and stuff will just have a very sudden, change in a character, and it's not that believable. You need something that can convince us that he would make that kind of a change, and it actually happens, and it's actually very believable. It actually could be more effective with Stuart Long trying to put out a message to a group of young people who are misbehaving, who are, not on the right path, because Stuart Long is able to relate to them and they can see it's genuine. It's absolutely genuine. It's not one of these fake things. This guy talks like they would talk, and he's not afraid to be very blunt and can be very convincing in that way. And there's a scene where they have to execute that, talking to a group of prisoners, where one priest just fails miserably. Stuart Long takes over, gets their attention very quickly, and then there's a little funny moment to end it. So I won't spoil that. But yeah, I mean, it's really natural. It's really believable. The film is extremely funny and very emotional. It packs a punch here towards the end. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I think it could have packed an even bigger emotional punch, but it was a pretty decent punch. And, I'm sure there is some people going to shed some tears at the end of this movie. It is a pretty powerful movie. I thought for this individual story, I don't know how it could have been executed much better. The only things I didn't love about it, I mentioned how, it does seem to move kind of fast at times. It actually, even though it's over 2 hours long, it was a quick 2 hours, for me anyway. And I thought there were certain scenes where some major things happened, and it was just, boom, glossed over almost. And it was like, whoa, like that was quick. That didn't make a whole lot of sense even. I mean, did 2-3 years pass right then? I don't even know. I am assuming they did. That's why I said this could have been like a series. This could have been like an entire season of hour-long episodes or something, and you could have 12, hour-long episodes and really hash this story out. And there are almost, 7, 8, 9 major events that you could have had in each episode. That's how big and this story is, and this individual's life his life was extremely eventful. So I thought that, it was okay. I mean, I understand it. They don't want to make the movie 3 hours long. They're not trying to make The Godfather here, and so they did the best they could. It's understandable, but and I don't know what to cut out in order to make those scenes extended. You have to cut something else out, and so I don't really have an answer. I think they did pretty much the best they could given this story, but there are some moments that are just like move really quick, and it's like, whoa, like that whole incident lasted 4 or 5 minutes, and that seemed like a major part of the story that should have gone long, that should have been more fleshed out. I thought they did an extraordinary job. The acting, everything is super entertaining. First half of this movie, I'm thinking I'm gonna love this. Is gonna be a 10 out of 10. And the second half of the movie was still really good. Things happened that I was like, I don't know if I like that direction, but then I kind of realized, oh, it's based on a true story. So they have no choice. They have to go in the direction that the actual story takes them. So I'm going to give a grade now for the film, and then I'll talk about a few little tiny spoilers just to put more context into what I was saying, just in case you have seen the movie. So I'm going to give this movie a score of 9 out of 10. This movie was freaking awesome, and I really enjoy and recommend Father Stu. I think most people will enjoy it, although the reviews are mixed. There are some reviews on YouTube I watched of the people that just didn't like it, that said it was one of the worst movies of the year so far, and it just blew me away. Like, this is one of the worst movies of the year? Like, are you kidding me? I can't understand that. People are entitled to their opinion, but I mean, there are some really bad movies that come out, and I thought this was really good, a really solid, really freaking awesome movie. But some of the things about it that I mentioned, okay, so there is the point that I'm going to get into spoilers now. Spoiler warning. There is the point in the movie where he has his first major incident. Well, I guess his first major incident when the doctor tells him he can't be a boxer anymore. So then he decides he wants to go to Hollywood and be an actor. And there's this just adorable scene where he goes to Hollywood and he's in a motel, and he's saying a motel. He's always acting like he's made it. He's like, yes, I did it, I did it. And he's watching the movies and acting and doing his shots in the mirror. His I don't know what you call them, your head shots or whatever, and posing for himself. And it's just a really funny and cute scene. I really enjoyed that scene. But later on in the film, when he meets this girl and he's trying to impress her, so he's going to a Catholic church, there's such hilarious scenes. It's some hilarious moments. When one moment she said, my parents, we have to approve of you, and it's really important that you get baptized. He's like, well, get back. I thought you were going to say be Hispanic. Get baptized? Hell yeah, no problem. He doesn't care. He absolutely does not care one bit. He will get baptized. And so you can see that, like, what kind of transformation has happened to make him actually genuine about, you know, the church and everything. Because clearly he's just doing this because he likes this girl. So what is going to happen? And that's when this horrific motorcycle accident happens. And he gets into this massive motorcycle accident. And it looks like, I mean, I don't know how the hell he's going to survive this. When it happens and you see it happen, it's a very well done shot. It's like, dude, this dude is going to be jacked up. He's going to be, if he survives this, he's going to be messed up. And I mean, obviously he's going to survive it because, you know, the movie's going to happen and everything. But it looked so bad. And then when you see him in the hospital, it looks about as bad as you expect. He's hooked up to tubes and he's just messed up. He's in a coma. They don't expect him to make it. They tell their mom, you know, we don't expect him to make it. Tell his mom, and next thing I know, boom, he's talking. They're pushing him around the hospital. He runs into his dad. Hey, he's talking. Next thing I know, he's walking around and back to normal, perfect health. Whoa! It happened so quick, like from the accident to back well again. Now there is a moment and everything that where he thinks he's dying. He sees the light. He talks to you know, the Virgin Mary, and all that happened. And it's context to why now he feels like he's going to change his life and why he believes in God now. Why he is going to, you know, become a priest. There's context and there's reason and it's understandable and it makes sense. But the whole injury, like there's no rehab, like it goes by so quick and it looked like such a massive injury. So next thing I know, he's back on his feet. He's okay. He wants to be a priest. This is insane. And then the next thing, when he finds out that he has this degenerative disease, this terrible, horrible affliction here that makes it basically like Lou Gehrig's disease. He's going to stop, his muscles will stop working. And there's no cure, and there's nothing they can do for him. When he gets that news, I didn't know this. And I was like, what? Like, already I'm loving this movie. Like, I didn't think we needed another major problem for this character. I thought the problem was the accident, and now he's going to become a priest, and now it's really entertaining, and I wanted to see where that goes. But now he has this extra affliction where it starts to affect him. He can't move, he can't, you know, exercise, so he's getting overweight, and it's just really, it's really rough. And that's really what happened, though. There was, I mean, obviously that's what made this such an extraordinary story, and they had to do that. But you know, watching the movie, I didn't realize that was going to happen, and it just kind of took me aback. And that's when I was like, this has to be based on a true story. Like, why would they do that? Like, so far, I didn't realize it was based on a true story. When he got that news, I was like, okay, this has to be a true story, because enough has happened to this guy that it just has to be true. And it's really heartbreaking to watch after that. But again, true story, very emotional. And at the end, when he actually gets accepted to become a priest, and there's that scene where, you know, he bends down, he gets accepted into priesthood. I don't know the terminology, but when he becomes a priest, it's a really emotional scene. And I thought that scene, you know, there's some humor in it that might have, I thought, dampened the emotions a little bit. I thought that could have been a really more, you know, hit a little harder with the emotion. I thought maybe I'm wrong on that. It was pretty emotional. I'm sure it's going to bring tear to plenty of people's eyes. But that's just some quick spoiler moments I wanted to talk about, and what my thoughts were, and what I was talking about, how it moves so quick through certain scenes. And but yeah, the movie's hilarious. This guy is just, you love the dude. You love the dude. Even though he does kind of stalk the girl a little bit, he gets what he wants. It's a fault he has, definitely. He shouldn't be following, you know, women home and everything when they say no. But yeah, he gets what he wants. He doesn't give up easily. He's very resilient. That's part of his character. And, you know, it's such a fun watch. And you'll love this character, and I think you'll love this movie. Check it out. You may not. There are some bad reviews out there. I don't quite get them. I don't quite get the criticisms. But, hey, to each their own. I would recommend it. Father Stu, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you've seen it, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button, and I really appreciate your support. And if you'll hit that subscribe button, that would be awesome. We are just about at 1,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate all of you guys. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time.